guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and here I like to share what I get up to in my art studio. And today I have another sketchbook page that I want to work through with you guys. I love having these sessions because it helps me to work in my sketchbook, feel very relaxed because I'm not creating something that is necessarily going to be a final piece. It's just to get my practice going and also for me to learn about my mediums, mixing them, seeing what responses I get when I put them together, getting some abstracted ideas done in the sketchbook, and just playing with my materials is so much fun. So if this is your first time here, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming here and spending the time. I really enjoy doing this because then I can share with you what I get up to in the studio and also hopefully inspire you to create your own artwork or your own creative environment to enjoy what it is that motivates you and really gives you joy. So I'm going to get on with getting set up. I have got this view here that you can see me with, and that will be put into the corner of the video. And then I'm going to be recording top down as well from my equipment here, and we will be able to see what it is that I get up to. So let me get myself set up and then we're going to get started. So first I need to put my camera up here. So I use my phone to record what it is that I am doing on the channel. And right now I'm using my iPad to film me this way, but I am going to set up my phone. Hopefully it will work. I'm just got a set time of maybe say about 40 minutes to an hour to share with you guys here so that I don't use up the space that I have on my phone and end up with nothing to show you. So I'm just gonna put my phone up here and set that up. Let's see. So depending on what my volume is like, at this moment I'm recording with my iPad and I'm hoping that the actual sound will be very good. And now I am setting up my phone. And there's a lot going on here with this. Right, let's see. So I need to be very specific on how I'm doing this to get it to be straight and so it doesn't move around. It's quite windy and rainy outside, so you will be hearing some of that. Hopefully my camera will stay where it is, and there we go. I've set up. So it's not that straightforward. So here we can already see that I have laid out my page that I'm using today. I'd already put on some ink, and I'd use this ink here, which is, what was it called again? What name? Antelope. So this is like an antelope brown. It looks quite greenish when you're closer to it, but it's a kind of brown. So I'd put that before. I'd sketched on here with my Posca pen, which I might do some more of actually, because the pen is like, it's been fun to use it to start adding some black marks. And I like to pretend that I'm drawing when I come to my paintings because that is what I'm most comfortable with, drawing. And so I've been trying to make ways of being able to draw with my paint so that I can get my marks down and really enjoy myself. So I've been putting them back into these little acrylic bottles. Even when I've finished painting with them, I'm now starting to mix paint into them so that I can add them to my actual palette. So I want to maybe lean into my pinks at the moment. I do have some blues that I've already put on this. I did a spray paint of a darker blue and a lighter blue on this. So I am going to get into painting now, but I'll just show you on this, my smaller screen, what it is that I have. So this is what it looks like, and this is a stag I'm trying to put here with some abstracted shapes, and I'm trying to, I have been trying to, let me just check that my camera is right because I just bumped it there. So yeah, it's still okay. So I've been trying to bring together all the different elements that I like to have in my artwork, and so that's what I'll be looking at right now is to add some value in here, like some darker tones and things. And what I found with the pens that's been really awesome is that I can actually spritz this with some water, like if I do it quite early on, and it will smudge. So I'm gonna try doing some of that right now, get in some of the shapes. So that's that in there. If I just spritz it, that's what I was filling in at the beginning, was my spritzer. So I can go in with my palette knife, which is what I've been using, to kind of smudge some areas and get some of the black to spread. I need to be careful. I have my drying tool there, so I shouldn't get any water through that. It's electrical. So it's been really fun to smudge the actual Posca pen. Like if you do it quite quickly, it will smudge. I think the longer it takes to do that, it will start to dry. So just a little bit of a difference already. Then I'm going to go in with some of my inks, like the Antelope ink again, and get in some kind of a drawing situation here. So I'm going to go around. Actually, what I could do is spritz this and then it will spread around before I even start adding on. And the inks make it quite wet, so in between I usually have to wait to dry some things. If it's not coming out with that, I'm using my tool here. I'm trying to remember what this tool is. Ooh, just splashing that around. So I use this to draw my shape. And then if I wanted to do, I could lift it up and get some drips, but because I don't want to make that kind of a mess, I'm just going to use this and do that. Then I'm going to start taking this paint across to the other side. I can do it with a brush as well if I want to kind of, no, that's not going to work. So this other brush, let's try this one. If I want to bring it into areas here, I still feel like that is not really doing it for me, so I'm gonna see if I can get some of this out. So I like to kind of take some of the ones I've already put on with this tool, soak it back up and move it around. So it takes building the layers. I'm using my inks, I'm using acrylic, spray paint. So far I've put clear gesso actually over the first layer of ink that I had. There's some white gesso going on as well. I've used my woody for the turquoise in it to kind of draw in some areas as well. So I've used this woody to kind of sketch in some areas as well, bring in some turquoise color, and I can do that with more, but right now I'm focusing on the inks and getting that moving around. So there's some kind of in the background hazy, and now I'm putting on another layer. So if my ink dripper is not working, these are the ways that I can start to, as I said before in my other videos in this past couple of weeks, it's about the process. And that process has allowed me to have interest put into my work, that if I just tried to use only a brush or only one specific tool, then it wouldn't really give me that interest. And so I've really been enjoying just doing different things and trying out my tools in different ways. I really like the way that that's, when it's squeezing that little bit out, that's some nice little detail. So I'm going to do some more of that here, and I'm trying to kind of link the pages across because this is across a page. So doing this with my sketchbooks is making me more adventurous. I am starting to really enjoy when I'm trying to work on like final pieces. I'm getting really comfortable in my tools and what I'm doing with them, and experimentation. As I said, this is my lab, my art lab, and I just love to create. So if this wasn't only for a short time, then I would let this dry. So I am just going around given this whole thing, and you can see how it's changed already quite considerably. I'm gonna just carry this around. I want the ink to dry a lot faster, so the point here for me is to spread it around, thin it out, use it in different areas, and I can do that using this tool. Can you believe it? So I'm gonna close my ink, and I'm thinking about what other color I can bring in here, and I keep referring back to a piece of artwork I have on the floor that I worked on the other day. So I'm trying to see what other colors are in there that I brought in. So that's what I am doing. So let's see. This is a tester pot that I am using, and I am using some of the paint in here to add to my characters. And the brush is very rugged and can get some really interesting marks there as well. So I'm kind of just thinking about filling in some areas that maybe don't have that much going on right now. And yeah, so that's come in there. So that's that. And then, what was it? I wanted to get in some purples, and I'm trying to think where to put it in so that I am not going to be, actually maybe I'll use some of the turquoise as well. So I am using my palette knife. I'm using different tools. Let's see, is there still paint in here, or has it run out? No, there's still paint. So I'm deliberately going around this sphere and adding to it with my palette knife, and introducing color around. I think last time I said I wanted to have some flowers in this next video, so with you guys here. So I will bring in some flowers at some point into this, maybe sooner than later. And scratch into it as well and get different designs. And so getting it all around the edges. I don't have to do that, but that's what I'm doing here. So there's so many things to do. And then once again, I said last week that I cut my acrylics in half and then I seal them with these clips. So that's what I've been doing, so I can use up all the paint. I do also have my, let's see, I've got some extra on my, so I'm gonna mix some in. So this is another thing now that I have this on my actual, just gonna mix some in, and you get some different colors coming out of that I'm spreading around. So I've got my Prussian blue here as well, still clipped from last time, and I am going to go ahead and use some of it on my painting. So I'm being very specific. This is around the nose area, and I want to be able to get some dark contrast. So I like to use my Prussian blue a lot, like all the blues. Not always blacks, but then we can mix different colors in with this as well. But I am just going for a quick overlay of colors, and then I can fine tune things. So I'm just getting his antlers in there, and let's see. And then, like I said, carrying the color across so that it's not just only on the stag, it's like a full conversation going on. So I'm gonna have the flowers in somewhere, and I usually have them against a dark background, so I am thinking this area here might work with that. Carrying that, scraping that color across, and looking at the background there. So I think that's enough for that blue at the moment. And let's see what else I can add into this. So I've got some really bright colors that I want to possibly add. I'm going to refer back to the one I'm looking at back there. Yep, I think I know what it is, but I will go in with these first. I want to try some of these, my blues that I've pre-mixed, to add to this. Ooh, well, this one's more of a green, but I'm gonna put that here. And then I will come in and do some either blendy, or oh yeah, I might use my roller actually on this. I put some of that on that as well. So that was the blue. It's not the color you see out here, it's a bit green. So let me just check that this is recording. Yep, I can see it. So I've got my rolling tool that I am looking for to use on this. I'm trying to keep all my tools accessible for me here on my desk, but I am, oh yeah, here it is. So there's a lot of different tools here. Let's see, I can use some like scratching tool as well, just scratch into that a little bit and get some interesting marks on that. So every tool possible I can use, I am using on this to get something else going on other than a plain conversation and giving it interest. So this is a shaping tool, scraping tool, made of silicone at the end, and it has a specific design on it. So that's what that is. And I have them just there. So I was going to use this rolling tool to actually go in there, but I didn't do that. I might do some drips of some white in here as well. So I might need to stand up because sometimes I like, oh, just splashed a little bit. I like to really just go around with it. I actually wanted to put more water in this. I think I will. Let's just close that up a minute. I'm going to put some more water in it because I want it to be a lot more runny than it is. So I'm going to use this tool yet again. This, I'm trying to remember what it is. It's not a pipette. It's like you basically just pick up the water with it. I have a whole bunch of these that I bought off Amazon. It was a huge pack, and so I bring them out to use for exactly what I'm doing right now. I think that's enough water. So I'm just gonna tighten it and shake it a little bit to get that to mix. I'm trying to be very careful with my tools. I could do this and end up squirting it into my camera, which would not be good. So so mixing that in, it's a lot more liquidy. I'm trying to get the different mediums I have in here to mix, and also the gesso to mix in here. So these longer form recording sessions for filming of me painting through my sketchbook is, as I said last time and the time before that, is more what I want to do. I want to spend more time with you guys here, going through what I do to create my artwork. So far, this is what it looks like. And we're just going to keep on digging away and until we get what it is that I feel we can reach for today's session. So I am going to add some white. So let's see when I open this up. So I'm reusing all my older tools as well because, as I said, the whole process of like drawing, and so this isn't really doing what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to be a lot more liquid coming out. I think some of the older stuff is still in there, so it's not really squirting out. Let me see if I do it this way. No, it's not as flexible. So you can see how things can go kind of in the wrong direction from what you want it to do. And basically I've just got a whole bunch of white around. So seeing as this doesn't work the way I wanted to do it, I'm gonna basically smush the pages together because I want a kind of an effect, and it's not doing that for me right now. So, but if I had more liquid in it, then it would be able to, oh, this is stuck to the page already. It's not what I wanted. So, right, so I'm gonna put the pages together because I want, it might cover all of my stag. This might be a really bad idea. I think that's what's gonna happen. Yep, there we go. Most of my stag has been covered. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some paper and take some of the excess off because it has, so I've got some sheets of paper here that I'm gonna use and just go over it. So I knew I'd put too much on it, to be honest, but I am going to take some of that away. And basically you can make new collage papers with that. So I'll just pile them here. I'm going to do some more to take as much of it away as possible. And start with my new slate of, so I can use those collage papers on like on different things, like greeting cards and other paintings, because I like to add collage elements to my paintings as well. So I don't think I'll put that clip back on because for some reason it decided it didn't want to come off. So I might just leave that over there. So where was I? Right, so let's tidy a little bit around here. I wanted to add some flowers in some areas. So what I'll do is I'll come back and start adding, should I add some other colors? I feel like there might be some colors. You know what, I'll be letting that dry and start working on some flowers here. So what I'm gonna use are my open acrylics because they are just fun to use and I can take my time. I was actually working with some oil painting today and that was a lot of fun using the oil paint, and it's a very slow pace when it comes to using the oil paint. So that's what I'm going to do right now, just really relax and take my time with that. So I'm gonna squeeze out some of my, this is the red one. I don't want to use red. I always like my magenta. I feel like I like cooler colors more, which is really interesting. So we'll see how that goes. Because I think that's what I'm learning. But I'll still have some red because I'm going to mix the red and the cool color, like the warm and the cool. Because I always just think I can always paint over things. But let me see if I can be patient and actually start getting the flowers the way I want to do it. So all this time I'm struggling with this paint to get it back, the lid. Gosh, that's so annoying. It's just not going on. I don't know why it's struggling. I'll need to look at probably what's on it. There's some paint on it, which might be giving it some problems. So I'm gonna get into this now. I'll put some white out as well so that I have some to lighten what it is that I'm going to be painting. It's really windy outside. The weather has turned. It was a lot warmer for about a month and now it is something else out there completely. So let's see how I do this. Trying to work on this. So I'm going to start with a magenta in this, and I don't know how much of that you can see. Let me just check that I am in view. So it's very dark. It's going to start very dark and then I promise it will get more visible. I'm just doing the outline of it and trying to just think of it like I'm drawing and not anything more, and relax into it. And also it's not that the flower is supposed to be you know, realistic. It's an impression of it that I am going for. So that's one here, and I'm gonna do, I like to kind of trail, like to have it another flower close by. But I need to look at like sizing so that it's not the same competing size. Then I'll go in with some of this red. So I'm gonna play with this slowly. As I said, drawing this in like I am just sketching something out and not being too serious about it. And I'm gonna go in for some white and maybe mix that here so that, so because the white is very fluid, it is I'm gonna try using, and I'm really just very loose with my brush. I'm even holding it like this when it's wobbling and then kind of dragging it along because I want the color to kind of mix on the surface. Might need to use some of my bigger brushes in a minute. So I'm just bringing in some other petals here and there. Mix in some red. I think I need to use like a thicker gesso. That is too light for me, but I'm really liking the way it's going. I'm gonna have some of the color travel around as well. So I'm going to use my palette knife and just scrape out some of this gesso onto the palette. That's enough. So I'm just gonna put this away. It's really heavy. So let's see. The brush is getting a bit messy. Right, so, and with the open acrylic, because it is still wet and fluid, you can basically, you know, like oil paint, you can blend and do all sorts of interesting things with it. So that is what I am doing here, just playing with it. But when you're mixing it in with the actual gesso and other paints, it starts to dry a lot quicker. It doesn't have the same length of longer drying time anymore. So I'm just going to come in with some of the Prussian blue and start adding to this environment, and add in some more color there. Some of the blue go back in here. Don't know, is it in the camera? I hope so. That's the point. Because I really want the colors to mix in here. So it's just interesting mixing the colors. And I shouldn't forget myself, I've got this whole area of the stag to go. So I'm going to go in with some more of this and bring in some of the color here. I'm using a small brush on purpose. I know that sometimes we can use a bigger brush, like I've got this one here. So I could go faster adding into areas. And that can help to speed things up. So let's see, and my sphere here, I scratch into it and So another thing is scratching into things, and so that they kind of are blending over each other. So here I'm thinking, you know what, some more purple, blue, so as I said, in the sketchbook, playing and not being too serious about it, because I can just try things out and see what it's like. And if it isn't working, then I wouldn't transfer that to a bigger or a different final kind of painting scenario. So I can scratch into these. And yeah, let's see this side. I want to add maybe some more of this. I'm trying to make this tag stick out, but at the same time I need to be aware that I want to push some areas back. So pushing back is the word. Let's see, I'll just put that in there. So I'm trying to think about this. So I'm going to stand up slightly for a moment, and I'm going to look from the top to see what I'm seeing at the moment, and then I might add some other areas here. I might carry some of this color over to here as well. So I've been trying to, like I said, bring together the different elements that I like to have in my artwork. I like to have flowers, I like to have my stag, I like the abstraction of the sphere that I do in my abstracts only. I'll get the abstract actually and show you a couple of them, what I mean by the sphere. I have like some abstract artwork that are just circles, organic shapes, and then I'll also bring in birds, butterflies. There's a lot of things I want to bring in, and I tried the idea of bringing in portraiture for a while, and I'm really struggling with bringing in portraiture into this world of the work that I'm doing, because I'm focusing more on the wildlife, I feel, and that world than putting myself in it at the moment. So that is a struggle going on. But while I let this dry for some moments, I will bring some of the abstracts that I want to show as an example for you to see. So I'll be back in a minute. Just take these papers away because they're in my way. So that I want to show you, like this one is one of them. So you can see this abstracted shape that is like drips happening. So that would be the idea. There would be drips happening. As I said, it's in my sketchbook. If I start doing that, I could have done that, but because I'm doing this session with you guys, it is a bit more rushed, to be honest, and so I can't allow for that dripping to happen and dry for me to do this. So maybe I'll do that again, add some layers of drips and then let that dry. Then I'll come back and do the flowers some more, who knows. But that's the idea. I would have this layer of drips, I would come back in and add this kind of meadow in front of that and add a little hint of a meadow. I wouldn't put that all over the place. And I'm going to push back some of the stag as well. Like some areas are going to be just very plain, muted, beautiful colors. And that's what I'm going to do. So this is the abstract. This is one example of what I'm talking about that is supposed to symbolize this area where there is the sphere. Then this is another one. So this, look at the colors on this. So when I am making these pieces of artwork, there's a lot of layers, there's a lot of ideas that would go into the artwork, and so these are just first layers just that you're seeing me do here, but there would be more reflective metallic paints, there's mark making, drips and drizzles and layers of colors and just fun and yummy colors. So the layer you're seeing is not all there would be if I wanted to push this into a more detailed artwork. It is just one surface scenario that we're seeing here, and because I want to use different tools, as I keep saying, so I'm going to use this roller and see what I can do with it. And I'm going to go back into my magenta here and just start adding some. As I said, the process, I'm really enjoying that because it's really given me a lot of interest. And some of this will come through later on, some of it will not. That's fine. And I am thinking about, right, okay, this corner hasn't got very much of this going on. So what would I do if I had a canvas and I'm trying to get details in? This is what I would do. It's like you would carry the color around. So I have here some of the red. I'm now going to start introducing that in. It's a lot of colors on the canvas. I'm being very selective where I'm putting them because I want it to be prominent. So the red is being spread around. In here with the magenta as well. As I said, these are open acrylic, so these take longer to dry. So this page, I wouldn't want to close too soon. But what I'm going to do next is just use this up. I'll use it up on some of the papers if I don't use it up here. Right, okay. So I want to look at the colors I have here and see what I do with them. So I'm just going to put them on my palette. I won't put them straight on here because that's something I've been doing, but I will just avoid that for now and put them on my palette. Wow, there's some nice colors there actually. So that's that one, that one. I feel like there's one more missing at the moment, but oh yeah, maybe back here. Let's see what you look like. Okay, so I don't know if I could have, let's try it. And so you see that drip there. I am gonna just do something here, and then I could leave those marks. I don't have to do anything with those marks. I could leave them, I could go in, and if I wanted to kind of like make them a bit more circular, carry this through here. This one, just do something else with it. Because what I was trying to do actually is starting to separate some of the areas that are going to be in the background. So like starting to get the stag to show a bit more. So so this is how I start to build the details, and it just becomes so much fun. I'm using my palette knife now for this, and it's cutting into the painting and getting his ear there. And I could use a brush because there's an area here that I am, let's see, just clean the brush, make the brush as dry as possible. So if I want to make the horn now very prominent, like the horns here, this is how I would start doing that. It's like, okay, I'll do another one in here. So just go in and start basically cutting it out of the page. And then you'd add more and more layers to emphasize what areas are supposed to be visible and what is not supposed to be visible. So just cut into this a bit more, and then you just build and build and build. So yeah. And then I'll cut it here. So this is where the stag's horn will maybe stop. I'll go here, cut in here, I'll stand up in a moment because I want to see what it is that I'm doing. So I would build the layers, and the blending wet into wet gives it that beautiful, like really lovely. And then some of it doesn't have to go away. Some of it, I like some of the marks. So let's see if I want to move that deeper down. Just add more white. You just keep adding and making it brighter and to stand out more. And then you can scratch into areas as well, so it doesn't have to be just what you're seeing. It can have details inside of details. Like here, let's just do some stuff here. It doesn't have to be a lot of scratching, but I'm just doing that right now. But but look at that. I mean, look at that separation. And here we could have had some, okay, some turquoise paint is mixing anyway. That's good. So blendy going in, blend into this. And I'm just looking at the ears being separate. Here I could still put some more, I suppose, to emphasize this area. And then scratch into it, and you can get some of this back, but you've blended that in, and it's just a continuous journey of working with what we're doing here. Add a bit of red so we can bring some of that warmth in here. So if we don't want it to be too controlled, you scratch into it and bring some of that green back in, and then so you can see how it's changed. It's like so interesting how we can, let me just check how we can just keep on. Let's see if I come closer. There we go. So it's changed a lot from where we started. Dragging my brush here, I can add some more of the blue and everything. But yeah, this is basically where I was saying we can go with it. And I'll continue with this and maybe show you another time where the result goes. But I can add a bird into this, bees, butterflies, and this is where I'm trying to go with the artwork is, as I said, to bring the floral in, to bring the stag in, to bring my sphere in. And as I was saying, I would want more of this to actually flow out. I don't know why it didn't. I'll let this dry, and then I'll make sure that this is, I'll practice on something else and make sure that I can get my circle the way I want it. But I love the way it looks. And if you feel something is too much, you take your paper and you put it in and you get rid of it. So this looks quite amazing. I don't want to take this session too far. I just wanted to be able to spend time showing you what it looked like from an almost blank page. You know, I put some layers down. Some of those layers are still peeking through. The ink from the background there and in different areas. And some of the spray paint I did as well. And it's just so much fun. It's so yummy close up. I wish you could see it close up. I'm hoping my camera is taking in some of the detail for this. But it is lovely. I really love it. And the reds and everything, for some reason to me, I don't know why, it seems to work. But there's more layers that could go onto this. I lost count how many layers I put on this, but there's so much more, and making this flower come out as well. So if I let this dry, I can put more layers on it. But I want to be able to start introducing flowers, even if it's not a complete, you know, floral, I don't know, what would I call it, performance on the page. There is the hint of it at the very least, and that will get me to start getting used to playing around with the paint and seeing how that goes. And there's more here that can be pushed back, but I'll leave it here for now. I like how the greens are moving through the image, and you can see the head here of the stag, so it's not like he's not visible. But there's different ways. I mean, he could be a slimmer stag. It could be that he's sitting in the middle there and you can see the surrounding area around him. There's different things I could do with the size of the stag, but I am playing around with that at the moment. But I love the page. It's been fun. There's a lot of interesting marks on this. So I will look forward to seeing you guys the next time. Thank you so much for being here with me, going through this in my sketchbook. And I'm excited to see what the next page will be. Maybe I should focus only on flowers. I did give you some, but maybe I should focus only on flowers. But I really love this whole approach. And once it dries, I could come in again with my Posca pen and re-emphasize areas as well. So a lot can happen with this. There's no limitations once it's dried to go in and do some more layers. And also, like I said, I used clear gesso for the layer over the ink. So clear gesso is an option to do if you want to keep the colors still kind of, you know, as close to vibrant as possible, but also to get onto more layers that will not move, so it wouldn't affect the layer below for sure. But also you could use like gel medium as well, and once it's dry, and then go over that to seal it in. And with the gel medium, if you put a couple of layers or a few layers, you could go on to do an oil paint as well. So I've really enjoyed this, and thank you so much for being here. Please do subscribe so that you can get updated with what other videos I upload here to the channel. And thank you so much to my subscribers as well. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate you subscribing and being part of this community. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. So yeah, have a good time for the rest of this week. Please do check out all my stuff in the description as well, because I do have a website where some of the arts that I create separately from my sketchbook are available for sale. In a sketchbook, it would be something like me creating art prints, so that would be a different thing. So if someone requested that, I can look into doing that as well, because I do have a an A3 printer, so I could do something like that for you as well, and I will ship wherever I need to. So thank you so much. See you guys next time. Bye for now. Bye bye.